Welcome to a lesson on basic pushing hand drills. This one is called Withdraw and Push. The traditional name is sealing and closing, or as if shutting a door. Withdraw and Push is really the basic category of technique, but it does accurately describe what happens. And then in most forms you have some version of Withdraw and Push. Actually, it's in a lot of different styles. Closing and sealing is really, in that name, is the key to this drill. It's the idea of closing a door and then locking a door. So you can lock it and not close it, or you can close it and not lock it, but if you close it and lock it, it's secure. Today my demonstration partner is Julie Cisler. Julie has been with me for decades. She's a past president of Twin Cities Tai-Chi Chuan Studio. She is actually running the Mindful Motion Tai Chi Academy. Julie is my disciple, longtime student, and teacher in her own right. So, withdraw and push. We're going to start with the same alignment, front feet across from each other, front foot to my back. I'm going to have my arm up and ward off. She is going to cover my wrist and elbow. The basic idea is she's going to actually push heavier on my wrist. And as she does that, that's going to wrap my arm around my body, and it's going to pin me, and then she's going to give me a push. So it's a way of controlling me. If she were to push at my elbow, it's really simple. I'd just do a roll back. But she's pushing out and around, and this hand is now out of play, and then that's going to pin me, it's going to line me up. We'll talk about lines later, but it opens that line up, and then she'll push. So withdraw and push is how do I defend against that. So one thing I'm going to do is, I am going to shift back, but I'm actually going to turn. I want to turn and guide her hands over. If she were to keep pushing, you'll see she'll fall out of her stance, not me. So I'm going to shift and turn. When I feel her push stop, I'll bring my free hand underneath, cover her wrist and elbow, and now I'm going to push her heavy towards that side, towards the wrist side. She's going to go back and turn. When she feels my push stop, she's going to bring her hand underneath, she's going to cover my wrist and elbow, and then she's going to begin her push. This is the closing the door. It means I'm closing off my center line. But she could continue to push this way, and that'll push me out of my stance. So what I want to do is I want to close the door, and then I want to lock it. Once I have my hands here, it's hard for her to push over this way. Now, one thing you want to do is we're not using the wiping action as the defense. And we don't want to get the hand under there too soon. If she starts to do the wiping action as I'm pushing, I'm just going to push down and trap her. So she literally has the discipline not use that hand until she feels that my push is done, and it's done. You don't feel any more pressure. It's neutralized. It's finished. And before I can change. So now she can get the hand underneath and go. So once I feel it's done, I'm going to put my hand underneath. Now, the hand that's underneath needs to be palm facing her. So I'm just going to take my hands away. You can see her palm is facing her. If she were to do her palm facing me, which this feels like, it's got a lot of strength and like a martial art movement, it's actually really vulnerable because all I have to do is put some pressure on her hand. It's really simple to neutralize that. When she puts the hand like that, I just can trap it like that, or just push against it, and that'll pin it. Whereas when her hand is like that, palm in, it's really slippery. It doesn't do anything. So remember that when you're going back, This palm facing back, this palm facing back. When you're going forward, palms facing forward. So if you do 4 directions in the Professor Zheng Manching school, you got to have this technique. Basically, if people push on your elbow, you do roll back. But if they push heavy on your wrist and you try to do roll back, it's going to be a big struggle. So you just let it go and you go that other side. One thing we need to address in this drill is who's doing the open side or the favorable step, who's doing the closed side or the twist step. So I got my left hand forward and my left foot forward. I'm in the favorable step. It's going to be very easy for me to turn and neutralize. And what I want to do is I want to be a little narrower than shoulder width. She's on the twist step side. So what's going to happen is she is the opposite hand and foot. It's really hard to turn. It's rooted, it's strong, but it's a little bit more tighter. So what she wants to do is make sure she's shoulder width. So if I'm in the favorable step, I'm going to be a little narrower. She's in the twist step, she's going to be shoulder width or wider. On her side, she's going to do more shifting and less turning. And my side, I'm going to do more shifting, more turning and less shifting. I'm doing the opposite of her. Now, if we were to change feet, if we keep the same hands and we change feet, I'm now on the twist step, so I've got to be wide. She's in the favorable step, she's going to be narrow. Now she's going to see her body turns much easier. And my side, it's just a little bit, it's a little less room in there. So if you change the hands or the feet, you have to change the width. Now, one way to change is to make a little circle, fling that out of the way, the other hand comes up. See, she automatically made her adjustment. I got to make my adjustment. Another way we can change is I can take a step. So when I step, yep, she's going to go to narrow, I'm going to go to wider. So as you practice that, you really got to relax your waist. This is definitely a much more advanced drill, but you get to use this technique at a lot of places, because a lot of times in pushing hands, people try to control your elbow or try to wrap your arm or pin you. This is definitely one of the skills that you want to develop. So if you have any questions, send me a message or Facebook, Patreon, YouTube, whatever. I will answer your questions if you got any. So until then, practice your withdrawn push. If you like that lesson, please consider subscribing to my page, liking it, sharing the lessons, and tell your friends about it. I hope to really present as much knowledge and experience as I can in this medium. You can also go to my Patreon page, Ray Hayward, the Inspired Teacher, if you want to support me financially and also have access to some other benefits. My books are on lulu.com. I have my blog, and the more you support me, the more I can actually contribute to this your Tai Chi journey and to this amount of knowledge that's going out into the world, which I'm really happy about. I can't guarantee that I can get you to the highest level, but I can guarantee that I can get you to your next level. So continue to study, watch, like I said, like and subscribe, and keep practicing till I see you again.